So I have a fun fact for you. Shakespeare helped write the opening to the first Shrek movie. Yep, that one. The anthem that every drunk wedding DJ thinks is a personality test. All-star. Neat, right? But that line, all that glitters is gold, exists because Shakespeare wrote all that glisters is not gold in The Merchant of Venice. And 500 years later, Smash Mouth drops the word not, and that's how you get America. Yeah, we took one line warning us not to chase shiny crap and deleted the part that said don't. Change one word. It's fascinating because you change one word and you change history. You change enough words and you get the news. So I did some digging on this because, these things fascinate me. And it turns out Shakespeare actually didn't come up with it himself. It was actually an old saying. And then Chaucer writes about it. And he probably lifted it from Chaucer because writers have been ripping each other off for longer than TikTok trends. So Chaucer said, "But all thing which shineth as the gold needs not gold." Now, I don't know if I said that right. I learned English in the 1900s and not the 1300s. But we don't remember that version because we remember Shakespeare's because he was the one that had the microphone. We quote the guy every single day and we don't even realize it. Heart of gold, good riddance, wild goose chase. Half of our vocabulary is Elizabethan fan fiction. And you know why it sticks? Because he wrote for an audience that was half drunk and needed the gist before the next plague hit. You take Shakespeare out of the timeline and the whole entertainment industry collapses like a cheap stage. No Shakespeare, no Macbeth, no acting schools, And guess what? Ian McKellen, Patrick Stewart, gone. Poof. You don't get Picard. You don't get Gandalf. You don't get, "You shall not pass without, is this a dagger, which I see before me?" Yeah, I'm not kidding. Half of Hollywood is still living off of Shakespeare's leftovers. And every tortured hero, every big tragic monologue, that is his DNA running through your Netflix queue. I mean, it's all fucking connected, man. Take him out and movies suddenly, the memes, the entire language, the drama just starts to glitch. You don't just lose a writer, you lose a guy who gave human emotion a goddamn script. And when you erase the voice that taught us how to speak truth out loud, what else disappears with it? What stories never get told? What generations lose language that describes themselves at all? Now, okay, I need to calm down because this isn't about Shakespeare. This is just an example, not the crime scene. I'm just talking about how history works. Or doesn't. I mean, you ever notice how we always end up studying the same few names? Now, every century, whole crowds of geniuses vanish because someone decided what counted as important. It's not that their work wasn't good, it just didn't make the syllabus. And that's the trick. Because what survives becomes the truth. I'm going to use Shakespeare as the case study. He's not the suspect. He's the guy whose echo made it through, while thousands of others got buried under the noise. And, we still do it. With art, with news, with history. We pick up the version that fits the story we already want to tell. So, back to our case study on Shakespeare. Directors. Akira Kurosawa takes Macbeth, turns it into Throne of Blood. That's not plagiarism, that's reincarnation. Baz Luhrmann reboots Romeo and Juliet, which gives us Leonardo DiCaprio, which gives us Titanic. So, if you cried when Jack sank, blame Shakespeare because it's all connected, baby. And dig this. Before Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet was basically a sad Italian gossip column. He added Mercutio and the nurse and all that banter, and suddenly you got teenagers dying for love instead of just getting grounded for it. He didn't copy the story, he staged it. And once something hits the stage, it's permanent, like the internet. The theater is humanity's hard drive. What survives becomes the truth. And if you doubt that, ask Richard III's descendants.